So I just did the entire intro for my YouTube video, this one that you're watching right now, and I wasn't recording. All right, well, with my YouTube intro significantly ruined because I've already used up all the stuff I had for showcasing, behind me is a super smelter. This super smelter is specifically designed to where I can smelt multiple items at the same time in smaller quantities to smelt them faster. In other words, if you put an item in one by one, so if you put, that's not going to smelt, but anyway, if you put an item in one by one, it smelts the items one by one, which means getting through an entire stack might take something like, for example, say 20 minutes. But if you spread those items across all 15 of these smelters, all of them are going at the same time, then smelting a stack of items might go down to, say, 2 minutes, for example. The problem with super smelters is that you need a lot of fuel, and I am tired of using coal. And these leaf litters are easily accessible, very easy to find, but the problem with them is that they don't make very good fuel. While coal, one piece of coal could smelt, say, 2 to 3 items, one piece of leaf litter maybe gets 2/3 of an item done. And this leads to a lot of problems. When I was smelting the glass for my last episode and trying to get all of those glass bottles, I kept having to stop and go get a bunch more fuel from other sources. I had to go mining for more coal, I had to go find more leaf litter, I had to do a bunch of stuff in order to get all of that sand to be smelted so that we could have all the glass for our bee farm, which I'll actually show you guys the bee farm in a little bit. I had to do some upgrades, but for now the point is that we need better fuel source, and I have just the thing. This is dried kelp. Dried kelp can be used to make dried kelp blocks. Dried kelp blocks are a very good fuel source for smelting large amounts of items. If we put these two in here, then it's going to smelt roughly around 20 items. You can easily farm kelp with a kelp farming machine. And what we're going to do is basically build a machine that collects all of the kelp, puts it into a furnace system. Usually, probably we'll do like 2 or 3 of these furnaces, and then those will go into an auto crafter, which will automatically make dried kelp blocks. Part of those dried kelp blocks are going to go back into the furnace system, and part of those dried kelp blocks are going to go into a collection system, so we can go pick them up, bring them back here, and throw them into our auto smelter, so we always have a fuel source. And then we can use our coal for things like lanterns and trading with villagers, and well, that's it really. So I'm going to be using Exumavoid's dried kelp farm that he posted back when 1.21 in the auto crafter first came out. I'll leave that video linked in the description down below if you want to build this farm for yourself. But basically, I'm going to gather the materials. We're going to do 10 individual cells, and for each cell, we're going to need 6 hoppers, 3 dispensers, 5 observers, an auto crafter block, 2 builder blocks, 2 comparators, 1 redstone dust, 1 smoker, 3 composters, a decorated pot, and 8 moss. So I'm gonna go gather all those materials for what I need, and then I'll see you guys at the building site. A slight issue. Something that I'm realizing is that I need 30 dispensers for this farm, which means I need 30 bows, which means I'll need a lot more string than I currently possess. I have a sneaking suspicion that many of the videos in this series are going to be me starting out with a very simple premise to make a very simple farm before realizing that I need a lot more materials than I currently have, which means that I'm going to have to currently build another farm. So before we build our dried kelp farm, we're going to have to build a spider farm, because I absolutely 110% need so much string for this world because of all the dispensers that I have to keep making, and I'm tired of having to wait till nighttime and then go out spider hunting with my sword and hoping that I would be able to get one of these fracking things. So anyway, I'm gonna get the stuff for a spider farm, I'm gonna build it, and then I'll see you guys at the build site for the spider farm, wherever I'm gonna put that at. I'm so stupid. Okay, so according to Chunk Base, that is my base right there. If I dig straight down here to -3, which we are at 62. So if I dig down 65 blocks straight down, I should theoretically hit the spider spawner. So I brought some cobblestone just in case. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to mark out this area. And then I'm going to get rid of this source block. And now we're going to dig straight down and attempt to get to this spider spawner. I love chunk base, bro. I absolutely adore chunk base with my entire being. Let's go. All right, cool. The chest, a little looky look. Ooh, some diamond horse armor. I don't have that yet. Some iron horse armor. I do have one of those. What's this? Fortune 3? Well, I already have Fortune 3. Oh, no. I can put Fortune 3 here. Oh, hell yeah. All right. Sick. All right. Now to see if I can remember how this is done. Because basically what we need to do is we need to build out a area where when the spiders spawn in, they don't spawn stuck to the walls and instead spawn in mid-air, causing them to fall. And then when they get, they'll fall into a water bucket trail, which will push them onto some hoppers that I can kill them on and then collect all of the string. So I guess we'll start by clearing out this area. And you know what? I will go ahead and film this entire thing so you guys can see it on a time lapse, but I am going to be watching Mumbo Jumbo. It's the newest Hermitcraft episode. As of me recording this, he just released episode 8. So I'm going to be watching episode 8 in the background while I clear this area out. So enjoy the time lapse. While I'm letting this time lapse run in the background, I wanted to kind of have a very short and brief conversation with you guys about what I want out of this channel. As many of you will probably realize by this point in the video, if you're watching it around the time it was uploaded, this is a very fresh channel. But if you know anything about me, which may or may not be the case, you'll know that this isn't my first ever YouTube channel, nor have I just started doing this kind of thing within the last like 2 years or something. I've actually been making YouTube videos since I was 16 years old. I've had a ton of different YouTube channels, and the most success that I ever had was with a game called Dead by Daylight. That's not all very important right now, but what I do want you to know is that I'm not inexperienced, and so one of the biggest tips that I have for people who want to do a YouTube channel is to come up with goals. So I wanted to talk to you guys about my goals for this channel. The very first thing that I want to do is I want to give this channel a good, solid, honest try for at least a year. I want to consistently upload videos. I'm going to shoot for around 6 videos a month for a year, but in order to keep myself from getting burnt out on making Minecraft content, and also make sure that I always have time to do other things that I like write my novel, go to my coffee shop to read books that other people have written, or even work on my other YouTube channel where I plan on making kind of TV show review content and things like that, I'm going to be focusing on doing 3 separate series with some YouTube shorts sprinkled in. We're going to have this series, which is the My Forever World. I'm going to start each of the videos off with a problem and then introduce some sort of solution. I think that's going to be a very fun and creative way to do these videos. So every single video is going to be titled My Forever World has a blank problem. Like the first one was My Forever World has a bee problem. This one will be My Forever World has a fuel problem. And we'll just keep going with that because I think that it's really fun and thematic. Number 2, I'm going to be doing my Minecraft discussion series. These are going to be very small, off-the-cuff videos where I may take notes, I may not. I know I'm never going to write a script for them, and all I'm basically going to be doing in these videos is just talking about stuff regarding Minecraft. Very recently, the video right before this one, I did a video on why I don't really like the Elytra, and I also have a video planned on doing something like 10 things that I want in Minecraft. I'll do something a little bit later on down the road, like why I think the netherite upgrade things are actually good even though other people didn't like them, stuff like that. Just very small, short, off-the-cuff discussions that I can do in 10 or so minutes, and then I can film it while I'm inside my Forever World running around doing some meaningless chores, and this will allow me to get you guys a regular video in between these bigger, massive videos where I've got to spend 3 or 4 days working on a project and then compiling all of it and then scrubbing through and doing time lapses and editing and cutting out some dead air and making jokes that I didn't work, just kind of taking those out, all that other stuff. And my third and final series, which I'm currently writing the video for now, is going to be blank farms and how they work. This will be essentially a tutorial series where I show you how to build various farms, from very simplistic ones like a cow crusher all the way up to the big elaborate ones. But I don't want to just do a tutorial for those. I want to explain the mechanics behind it, why you put certain blocks in certain places, because I'm just kind of tired of people who do tutorials for this game not explaining shit. It becomes very complicated, and when you're trying to design something, like later on in this episode you're going to see me design a kelp farm to go along with the dried kelp block furnace thing, I have to design a kelp farm from scratch, and I go through a lot of trial and error in that process because I had to use my own knowledge of the game. I didn't want to just go yoink a kelp farm because I needed one that was going to be for a very specific purpose, and so I also had to set up some other additional stuff, which I'm excited to show you later. But the entire point that I'm trying to get to is that the point of that third series, Blank Farms and how they work, is to not only teach you how to build a farm, but teach you why the farm works, what the mechanics behind the farm are, so that in the future maybe you can design your own stuff. Because it may not seem like it, but I've been playing this game for 13 fucking years. I started playing this game in like very late 2012. I'd say like in December of 2012 or so. I really got kickstarted playing it in 2013. I've been playing this game for a very long time, so I actually know some shit. I know it doesn't seem like it because I am an idiot from time to time, but I do. So those are my goals for the channel, is just to keep up with those 3 series and give this channel a good to honest try for a full year, and aim for 6 videos a month to kind of provide you guys. As far as anything past that, I don't really know yet. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself because my real life does have some problems. I'm currently in between jobs, which means that when I do find a job, there may be something that slows me down. I won't be able to make as much content and have free time to myself. So that's just kind of all up in the air right now. But for right now, those are the solid goals. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and let this time lapse finish up. And me as the narrator, Kaiser, I'll see you guys in the next time lapse, which will be a little bit down the road. I almost forgot. I wanted to do something different with this Let's Play. I didn't want to just do a Let's Play. I also wanted to kind of teach you guys a little bit about Minecraft, which is why when I built the honey farm, I explained to you how the comparator works with the honeys, blocks, and everything like that. So let me explain a little bit how this works. The reason spider spawners is needed for a spider farm is because it is nearly impossible, listen to me, nearly impossible to build a mob spawner that only spawns spiders. You have to be very specific with the dimensions. There has to be a lot more involved, and it also gets a lot harder to like funnel all of the spiders into one little kill chamber like we have them up here. This is, you know, this is kind of the best that we can do. It is almost impossible. You know, you could build a creeper farm, you could build a mob grinder that spawns, you know, zombies and skeletons pretty frequently. I actually have one in this world that I haven't used in a very long time, but you can do that. You can do all of that. But the problem at the end of the day is almost always going to be, that you cannot force the spiders to both spawn and funnel into one place. That is one of the hardest things about building a spider farm. So that is why you have to find a spider farmer, a spider farmer. Oh my lord, a spider spawner. And basically what I did, because I know that time lapse probably went kind of fast, is that room there is a 9x9 that is 6 blocks up from the spawner and 3 blocks down from the spawner. This prevents the spiders from spawning on the walls, which makes them, you know, crawl up. It makes them spawn basically in mid-air, then they fall into this water, they get funneled into here. And you want to also make sure that any caves nearby are lit up so that you don't reach the mob cap and they continue to spawn. Unfortunately, this is the best we can do. Most mob farms have just a little kill chamber here where you could just sit there and, you know, swipe attack and kill all of them, and it's all Gucci and all that. But unfortunately, with something like this, we have to have this double setup so that we can kill them up here. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna build myself like some stairs right here, like maybe like maybe like a stair right here that I can like walk up to and stand on, so I don't have to keep looking up at them like this. But yeah, that's basically how this spawner works. They all spawn in mid-air. The 2 water buckets on the corners over there push them toward this area. They crawl up here, you kill them up here, and then all their stuff funnels into 3 hoppers that I placed right there that all funnel into this chest that give us our items. So yeah, that's how this works. Sorry, I forgot to explain it. Now I'm gonna work on building the tunnel and the entryway and all that stuff into here. Okay, so we have made it to the top of the entrance to the farm. And also, I just remembered I need to get myself a couple more fence gates, so let's go grab that real quick. And it doesn't look like... Oh, I do. I'm already using oak. You know what? I don't want to use oak down there. We're doing... Can I make... I think I have enough to make them. I think some pale oak to match like the webbing of the spiders would be like pretty cool. So we're gonna make some I think we have enough to make the fence gates we need. We do, yay! All right, so we're gonna make 4 fence gates. And before the end of today's episode, we are also going to decorate this entrance to the spider spawner. I'm gonna build like a little bridge and a little building out here that actually like, you know, has something here. We're also gonna light this up so that mobs don't spawn on this cobblestone. But the first thing we need to do is we need to dump some water down there. So we're gonna take these 2 water buckets and we're gonna make a water block so, and like so. And then we just drop down into our entrance, and then I'll show you what to do from there. Let me make sure that I do not have dirt. I need dirt. I need at least 2 dirt blocks. Almost forgot that. This is an interesting development. Apparently, the water inside of the spider spawner area is deep enough to cause glow squids to spawn. That's neat. I didn't expect to have a spider spawner glow squid. Wait, where did this motherfucker come from? I didn't expect to have a spider spawner glow squid type of deal, but here we are, I guess. So, I mean, I could always use more glow stack inks. So anyway, we're gonna do 4 temporary blocks just like this. Go ahead and break these off, and then we're going to put fence gates like this, and then we're apparently gonna have to do this to cut that water off real quick. Go ahead and open these fence gates, and then we can break this, or we should have been able to break that. I don't know why it didn't work. Maybe because we have to do that. There we go, all fixed. Okay, so now, in the bottom of these, we're gonna plant kelp blocks. And we're basically gonna plant these kelp blocks all the way to the top. And kelp has the special property of turning every single one of these water blocks into source blocks, which will then allow us to create our bubble elevator. And I will explain that once we plant all this kelp. If you ever want to drop fast in the water like I'm doing, all you got to do is hit the crouch button. I guess technically hold the crouch button, but I play with toggle crouch on. I'll be completely honest with you, I don't know why more people don't play with toggle crouch. It's probably one of the greatest things to ever happen to this game. I turned toggle crouch, I've had toggle crouch on as a default forever. It stops you from having to hold on to fucking... stops you from having to hold on to the crouch button and killing your pinky finger. So anyway, once you have all your kelp planted, that's going to turn all of these into source blocks. And we are going to need this magma block. So in order to build a basic elevator, a basic bubble elevator, you need 2 blocks. You need a piece of soul sand and you need a magma block. The soul sand will create bubbles that go up, and the magma block will create bubbles that go down. This will allow you to... Okay, then. This will allow you to traverse both of these places much easier. So you see I break this, those bubbles are going to go up. When I step into that, it's going to shoot me upwards. But before I do that, I need to come here and break this block, which was a temporary block to place the kelp on, and then we place that. And then you'll see bubbles drag it down here. So now all of the kelp is coming down here. But now if we step into this side, this is going to take us up all the way to the top. And then whenever we want to go visit our farm, we step into this side and it brings us down without the need to crouch. And this is just a basic bubble elevator. Now, I used fence gates because I think fence gates look a little bit nicer, but you can also put signs here. Signs are what a lot of people use because it creates a solid opening, but it still blocks the water source. And now we can come to and from our spider farm. So I'm gonna go make a Bane of Arthropods looting 3 swords so I can kill these guys a lot faster. I'm gonna get some steps to put right here, and I'm also gonna get some blocks that I like here. And maybe we'll also decorate this place. I really haven't decided on that yet, but I'm gonna go get all of that done. I'm gonna get the webs that we need in order to make our dispensers, and then we can finally get started on our fuel farm. I'm the worst Minecraft YouTuber ever. I keep saying that I'm gonna meet you guys back when I have all the materials, but real quick, just real quick, I wanted to update you guys on the bee farm. So if you guys remember the last time we were here, I said that the minecart was basically gonna be a problem, and it did. I kept having to come back in here and restart the minecart because it kept getting stopped mid-thing and there was nothing being collected. And so I had replaced it. All of these moss carpets are hoppers, except for this. So originally, if you guys remember, we had this chest over this way, and you spin me right round, baby. Right? Oh, you ruined my song. Anyway, if you guys remember, we had we had a hopper here, and basically what was happening was I'm sorry, it wasn't I had it going all the way here, and the hopper that was here was getting locked by this redstone. So when it would pick it up from way down there, it would travel all the way and then just stop right before it got to the chest. So we had to make a little deviation here. So all of these are hoppers, and we have it goes 3 deep because whenever one of these things happens, it can sometimes shoot out like way out here. So it gets shot out, and then all these are hoppers. But I AFK'd here for like 3 hours, and when I came back, there were no honeycombs, no honey bottles, nothing. And I couldn't figure out for the life of me why it wasn't working. And it turns out that if there's moss carpet on top of these hoppers, it blocks the beehive. So this is just a little lesson for you guys. When you're building a honey farm, if you want to do this free range honey farm like I have going on here, where they're not trapped in glass blocks and things like that, do not, listen to me, do not put moss carpet or any kind of carpet on top of these hoppers. If you do that, for whatever reason, the bees can go into the hive, but they cannot come out of the hive. And also, this little fiasco caused me to lose like 20 bees because once I realized it, right? Because what I had done was I waited till the nighttime, and because the bees weren't coming out, and I was like, what the hell's going on? Are they all dead? What happened? There's no way they all died. So then I came over here and I slept in this bed, and when I slept in the bed and I woke up, no bees popped out. And I was like, bro, there's no way. There's no way. So I walked over, so I had a moss carpet on top of all of these, right? So I come over and I break this, and when I break it, all the bees suddenly popped out. All the bees suddenly popped out, and I was like, bro, there's no way. So I freaking went through and I'm breaking each of the moss carpets, and then bees, and then like one bee, I got all the way down here to like this one bee gets in my way, I accidentally punch it. All fucking 60 bees in here start flying after me. I had to quickly run out, close the door behind me. I have mob forgiveness on, which means that when you die, any neutral mobs that were mad at you before aren't mad at you anymore. So I had to run out of here, close the door, take off all my armor, drown myself, and then come back and start rebreeding. So there's actually not 60 bees anymore. I think there's like maybe kind of closer to like 40-ish, give or take. But as you can see, I don't I don't really need 60. I'm already probably going to end up overflowing this at some point, so I just kind of stopped breeding them. I think there's enough. But yeah, that was the update on the bee farm that I wanted to give you guys. So yeah, if you ever replicate my bee build, Do not put moss carpets right in front of the things because it will trap the bees inside, and then your farm just straight up won't work. But yeah, that was all I wanted to show you. Part of my entire I guess point of this, at some point during one of the time lapses in this video, I'm gonna like talk about my goals for the channel, but part of the entire point of this channel, besides just trying to entertain you guys and be funny and, you know, be a goofy little dude, is also to kind of showcase that you're not alone when it comes to issues when building things. I think a lot of times, a lot of Minecraft YouTubers will just kind of skip over the parts where they got frustrated or where they ran into snags or where something wasn't quite right, and they do this to keep the entertainment value high. But I've always been the kind of creator who wanted to let you know that I'm just a person like you. I'm not perfect. I'm not some gigantic professional Minecraft player. I've been playing this game for 13 years, but that doesn't really matter. My point is that whenever I follow a tutorial, like for example Zoomovoids that I'm following for this kelp farm, I always pause on the material screen that they show. And if you look at this screenshot of the material screen, you'll see that this part where I thought was dispensers, Exuma says not 2 seconds later in the video that those are actually droppers. So thankfully, droppers are a lot less expensive to craft. They don't take nearly as much because you don't have to make a bunch of bows. But it turns out that that whole detour that we went on with building the spider farm wasn't needed at this point because we're supposed to be getting droppers and not dispensers. So real quick, I'm going to go craft 30 droppers, and then I'll see you guys at the build site. I'm just gonna stop telling you guys that I'll see you at the build site because stuff keeps happening. Stuff keeps happening! Okay, alright, I'm fine. Listen, I did not realize that Zuma's tutorial for the dried kelp block farm thing did not include the materials for actually building a kelp farm. What this means is that I need to now go through the process of building a kelp farm. But the problem is that all the tutorials on kelp farms on YouTube are either just a kelp farm with no way to showcase how to move that kelp into... Am I in your way? Am I in your way of checking the empty chest? My bad, bro. My bad. Sorry. Anyway, the problem here is that I need to build a kelp farm, and that means I need to design my own kelp farm, which will have a proper output into the auto kelp farm, the auto dried block kelp farm that I'm following Zuma's tutorial on. So I am going to be doing what I did for my automatic sugarcane farm, my automatic melon farm, my automatic cactus farm, and basically making my own designs. The thing about designing automatic farms is that generally speaking, almost every single automatic farm follows the same concept. It's just how you choose to do it. So for me personally, with mine, I like to use Hopper minecart collection systems because they're a lot easier. With this one, you just do it with water because it's a lot easier. This is my design for my own villager breeder, but they all follow the same basic concept. So when I say I'm going to design my own kelp farm, what I mean is I'm going to research and watch a bunch of other kelp farm videos, see how they do it across the board, and then use that knowledge to build my own. But if I'm correct, which I'm fairly certain I am, kelp farms work on the same kind of premise as sugarcane farms, where you have an observer at, like, say a 3-block high or 4-block high. It all depends on your preference, but you have an observer at the top and you have a piston right above the second to last of the planted block. And then what happens is when the observer detects the crop growing to that point, it triggers the piston below. That piston pops out and harvests all of those. So that is what we're going to be working with. That's going to be the basics of the design. I'm going to double check, make sure that I've got that correct, and then I'm going to go build it. And I'll actually build that one on camera without a time lapse, so I can kind of teach you guys how that's built. So I'll say see you at the build site, but if something else comes up, then I'll see you at that point. All right, everybody. Hello. It has been roughly like 2 hours. I got distracted at one point. I was coming over here to build the farm. Behind me is our iron farm. I'll get to that in a second. But over in that direction, there is a mob grinder, or there was a mob grinder from when I first started this world. Because if you guys don't know, my process, I'll just walk you through real quick. Whenever I start a new world, the first thing I do is build a mob grinder, and then as soon as the mob grinder is done and I have the ability to, you know, get levels and stuff, I go find a village, I get the villagers, I build a villager breeder, then I build an iron farm. Those are the first 3 farms that I build, and then I'm able to do like enchanting and all that junk, you know, with more stuff. But I didn't need that mob grinder anymore. I have the Enderman XP farm, so I didn't need it for XP. As far as rotten flesh and bones and all that, I can always just go find some more spawners and make, you know, spawner farms. So I got distracted tearing that down because it was just kind of sitting in the back of my mind and bugging the shit out of me. But I went out and I got everything that I need to build this kelp farm. So basically, how I'm going to do this is probably going to be a little bit weird, but I think it's going to be worth it, and it's also going to save me a lot of time. So the first thing I'm going to do is clean up the iron farm behind me. That big pile of water was so that I could get a zombie up into that chamber, the chamber that's right above my head. That one right there has a zombie in a boat. That zombie is scaring 10 villagers, which are in there, which then causes a iron golem to spawn in that chamber, which then is drug into a lava that goes down into those. Those 3 chests are completely full, by the way. I need to sort out an item system that takes the poppies, turns the poppies into bone mill, and then, you know, all of that good stuff. But we'll worry about all that later. I'm not worried about that right now. Basically, what I'm planning on doing here is we're going to use these bricks, and I might need to go get some more, but I have literally 2 double chests full of stone, so it's not a big deal if I need to go get more. But what we're going to do is we're going to build out 15 blocks from this shoreline, and we're going to build this farm underwater. So we're going to go down into the water, we're going to build it up, and then we're going to have the observers and the pistons triggering. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to use soul sand to create bubble elevators for the things that break. Those that break are going to get pushed up and then are going to get pushed toward here. So we're going to have a water flow system that pushes all of them this way, and then it's going to come over here, and we're going to build the farm here on the beach, the auto smelter farm here on the beach. So that is how we're going to be doing that. 15 might be too much. Nah, I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure it'll be. I'll have to go get some signs at some point to build the water stream. Can I help you? But yeah, so that is how we're going to build the kelp farm. And then once I build the kelp farm, I'll dive underwater, show you guys kind of how it works, and then we will get started on the auto smelter. As I keep saying, this Minecraft series is not only about showing you guys awesome builds and all that other good stuff, it's also about teaching you the problems that Minecraft builders go through. So my original plan was to have it to where whenever these kelp get broken, they would get shoved into these bubble columns and sent up here. And then the plan was to have a water bucket that would basically flow the items down. Now, water only flows 7 across, I believe. So I would have to, every 7, put a sign down and then put another water bucket to keep the items flowing. Unfortunately, that is not how this is going to work, because if you put this down, it's just going to flow right there. And then it'll only be this stream. There's not really anything you can do about that, because water always flows to the nearest hole. So instead, what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to line this area with hoppers, in the theory that hoppers can be fed from the bottom. And I don't think that's true, but we're going to find out. Okay, so I have this line of hoppers here. So in theory, if we toss this gunpowder into this hopper, it should travel to the chest down there. There it is. Okay, so now to test our second theory, we need to actually get into one of these bubble columns. Oh, no, it does not work that way. You can see that's one of the hoppers that I messed up on. It's just bouncing up and down. It does not work that way. Okay, I need to figure out a different system here then. Okay, so I've been playing Minecraft for probably about 3 to 4 hours straight. And I think what I really need right now is a break, something to kind of refresh my brain a little bit, because I have a sneaking suspicion, unfortunately, that I am going to have to tear this whole thing down and build it above the water. I kind of really wanted this cool underground kelp farm or underwater kelp farm that would then get, you know, the items pushed up. Wait, I think I have an idea. Okay, so despite my tiredness, I have finally figured out how this thing completely works. So here is the basic setup of it and everything that goes with it. So when these grow to 3 high, the pistons trigger because the observers observe them growing to 3 high. You can see this a little bit better from the back. You've got the line of observers here that are at the 3rd slot. Then one down, you have redstone dust. When this redstone dust powers this block powers the piston, and then the piston shoots out and breaks it 1 above the kelp. When the kelp is broken, due to these source blocks across the top, as well as source blocks that are right in front of the observers, all of the kelp will get pushed down into this line of hoppers down below. You can see that if I throw this helmet, it immediately sinks to the bottom, gets brought to those hoppers. Those hoppers will then feed down into this dropper. This dropper is set up with a redstone, I don't know if this is called a redstone clock. I think it's just called a redstone pulse. I don't know the technical name for it, but basically how this works is as soon as this hopper feeds an item into this dropper, the dropper outputs a redstone signal into the comparator. The comparator will output the redstone signal into this repeater. This repeater will then output the redstone signal into this repeater. This repeater powers this block powers this dropper, and then the dropper shoots the item out across these 2 signs and into this bubble column up here. This line of redstone is basically to turn it off so it doesn't stay permanently powered, because you'll see if we break this and then we put an item into this dropper. Oh, do we not need it? Hold on. Yes, okay. It's more than 1 item. I apologize. So basically what happens is that if more than 1 item is being fed into this dropper, it will only shoot the first item out, and then this redstone signal will stay on. So in order to make sure the redstone signal stays off, you put a little button here, and then it continuously sends the pulse, continuously shooting the items. So this is the basics of how automatic dropper system or automatic dispenser systems work. It works the exact same for a dropper, except I had to modify it a little bit, because usually you run the comparator and this whole signal, you run it out the back, but obviously we couldn't do that, so I had to figure out how to run it out the side, and that ended up, you know, taking me quite a while. But if you guys want, I'll go ahead and show you this system, what it's supposed to look like when it's coming out the back of something. So this is my automatic chicken farm, and as you can see, it is the exact same setup. It's just coming out the back instead. Basically what happens is when the chickens up top lay an egg, that egg gets fed through into this dispenser. When the egg enters the dispenser, the redstone signal pulses just like that. It throws it at the block in front of it to attempt to hatch the chickens. The chickens hatch. When they grow all the way up, then their heads pop into the cauldron up there, which cooks them. That chicken falls into here. It's a chicken farm. Do you guys really need a tutorial on that? Maybe I'll do a tutorial on that. I've been thinking about possibly outside of just this series, also doing a series of tutorials that both do the tutorial and explain how it works, because if there's one thing that I genuinely cannot stand in Minecraft tutorials, it's when they don't explain how the system works while they're building the tutorial. Like, I hate tutorials that just tell you how to place the blocks but don't tell you why everything works the way it does, because then when you have to modify it in a way, like I had to modify that clock system with the redstone for this dropper over here, when I had to modify that, when I had to modify this, sorry, my brain wasn't functioning properly. When I had to modify this, I had to go and do some research because it wasn't, I had to go and do some research because it wasn't doing what I needed it to do. Now, this is something that I don't know how to stop. It keeps getting caught on here. I'm not sure what I can do about... Ooh, maybe if I did... Ooh, wait. I have an idea. Ingenuity! Yes, that appears to be working. So basically what I did was I just dropped the soul sand down 1, and then I filled up this block with water. So what happens is when the items get shot over here, if they get stuck on this sign, they will instead, if they get stuck on that sign, they'll instead drop into the water below and then flow into the soul sand bubble elevator up here. Okay, so we have officially reached the point where I have part of the farm built. I have spent legitimately all day on this. Oh my gosh, did you guys see how high that kelp went? Oh my god! Yo, it's getting airtime, bro. Okay, so... Oh my god, that was crazy. Okay, so basically what I'm gonna do when I come back to this tomorrow, because I need to go get some sleep. I've got some errands that I gotta run tomorrow. I gotta do some other stuff to kind of help my family with some things. So I'm gonna go ahead and go to bed for tonight, but when I come back to this tomorrow, we're gonna build a chamber here with flowing water, or not here, but yeah, here. So we're going to build the chamber here with some flowing water. Basically, we're going to bring this up either one more or bring it down one. I haven't really figured out which one I want to do, but we're going to bring it up. There's going to be another source block here, which is going to flow water this way, and then that water is going to flow into a hopper system, which will then feed the automatic kelp farm. We actually might need to bring this way higher. I think I might need to bring this up like 4 or 5. That is so gnarly, bro. Oh my god. That is so gnarly. Okay, I'll see you guys in the morning. All right, it is now 3:30 in the afternoon. I have about 2 hours before I have to go and do what I need to do. So my hope is to have this farm finished in 1 2-hour session. I can knock this out, and then I can get started on my next Minecraft discussion video, and also get started on a new series that I'm working on that you'll see when it hits the channel. But until then, here is the plan. I was thinking about it while I was falling asleep last night. We're going to go smelt this sand in our smelter because I think I'm going to need a lot more glass. I might have more glass at the house, but basically we need to bring this up. I'd say probably about 2 or 3 more blocks because we're going to make it even with this stuff here. I was originally going to dig this entire beach area out, and then I was going to build back over it before building this farm. But I think what I'm actually going to do is there's a desert around 8,000 blocks in that direction, somewhere over there, that I had to go visit to grab cactuses before I started filming these videos. Look, they're going up there. Oh my god, dude, I love how high they go. Anyway, that just tickles me so much. What I'm going to do before next episode of this Let's Play series is I'm going to make a nether portal and then a railway leading to that desert so that we can start clearing that out for more sand. So that's probably going to be a project that I do in between episodes. But for today, what we're going to do is we're just going to use this area to build the smelter. I also think that aesthetically, I think it looks pretty cool to like harvest kelp from like the ocean and then like put it on the beach. You know what I mean? Like, I think like aesthetically this looks really, really cool. And I think it's going to work out. I think it's going to work out great, honestly. I think it's going to work out great. I'll probably do a little bit of terraforming to decorate the thing before the end of the episode. But what I'm also going to do is like this ocean area, I'm going to go grab a bunch of kelp from like down there, and I'm going to like come and plant it all around here. And so by the time it all grows, look, you can see kelp in the distance over there a little bit. By the time it all grows up around here, we're just going to have a whole bunch of kelp, and it's going to look like this machine is like drawing kelp from the ocean. I might build like some sub pumps and stuff. Oh dude, that's gonna look so cool. It's all gonna be for aesthetics. Like it isn't actually gonna be drawing from the ocean. It's only gonna be drawing from this little 115 block chamber. But I think that if we decorate, oh dude, that is gonna look sick. Okay, all right. I'm gonna do that before the end of the episode. But for now, we need to bring this up to where the water spews, I think, a little bit higher than this level. I'm looking at the schematics for this thing. I do need to go get one more dropper and one more comparator, though, because I used it for the redstone signal down there. So I'm going to go take care of that before I come back over here. Maybe I might grab, let me grab another chest here. And put some of our supplies up here. We'll put like the glass, the hoppers. We need to put all this stuff back. We do not need repeaters for this project, but we need one more of these. We need one more dropper. We do not need dispensers. I'm gonna put those back up at home. I'm gonna keep the water buckets here. But yeah, so I'm gonna go make one more comparator and one more dropper to replace the ones I used, and then I'm gonna come back here and I'm gonna start a time lapse of me building this farm using Exuma's video, and then at the end of it I will talk a little bit more about my plans for here. But I think that's what I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna clean that water up there. I'm gonna go and go ahead and get rid of all those water block sources, and then I'm going to build I'm gonna expand this iron farm a little bit. I want to actually decorate this iron farm, but that's not going to be this episode. It's just going to be the aesthetics of the surrounding area, but I need to get rid of that. So it looks like it's like sub pumping out the the kelp. It's going to look sick. Okay, I'll be back. Happy day today, my friends. You know why it is a glorious happy day today? Because we have found another herald. If you guys don't know, the last episode I had cut the footage of me doing it out, but last episode a random zombie piglin wandered into the research base down here, this little research lab, and I ran over and I named him Harold. And in my I hate Elytra discussion, he had gotten trapped back here. I guess he had like wandered up this chest and wandered into here, and I thought I had him and I didn't need to do anything, but then a fucking Enderman came by and threw a grass block in this area, which allowed Harold to just get up, jump out, and then he wandered back into the nether. And then when I went into the nether with a boat to try to get him back in here, a gas shot a fireball and blew him up, and we lost Harold. But now a replacement has walked in here, so we can just come here. No, don't go that way. Come here. Listen, come here. I just want to name you Harold. Aha! We now have Harold. We have another Harold. All right, so I'm going to keep this stone brick wall up because eventually I'm going to go in and push this research facility back. I thought this would be big enough, but I think I'm going to like dig into like either this wall or this wall. I haven't really decided yet, and we're going to put some glass blocks around. He's going to be like a little research guy. Eventually I want to go and capture a hoglin, which I know will turn into a zombie hoglin, and I want to capture a skeleton and get a skeleton in here. Like a blaze. Can you get blazes? Can blazes come to the overworld? Can withers? Ooh, that's a thought. It's a scary thought, a pain in the ass thought. Would probably make me want to end my entire existence thought, but it's a thought. But anyway, Harold can stay here for now until I'm ready to put him in a glass box for the rest of my life, or for the rest of his life, which he'll live forever because he'll never despawn. But yeah, we have found another Harold. Rejoice, everybody! Now, before I grab the first sliver, Zuma said that these moss blocks were just to get the composters to their top levels. but I don't have many moss blocks, and I kind of want to save as many moss blocks as I can for my my future endeavors, especially moss farming. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come into my iron farm here and just grab a bunch of poppies, and we'll use that because in order for this farm to work, you need one of the composters to be at the highest level, which is level 8. Also, I really like this. We can swim over here and keep an eye out on the system, so we can come and look at the stuff. That's why I built this out of glass. I thought it looked really cool. I'm also going to extend those stone bricks across the bottom here, but that's aesthetics for another day. Right now, we're focusing on the technicals. So, if you're building this farm with Azuma's guide, you don't need to use the moss blocks. Like he says in the video, you can use anything. And if you're like me and you have a hyper efficient iron farm, then you can use all of the poppies that thing produces, because everybody knows that iron farms produce an excessive amount of poppies for no reason. I guess I'm going to record myself building this part of the farm before I go into the time lapse. But basically, here's what I did. We want a composter filled to the absolute brim. When it's completely full, it'll show these white particles, and you can tell this because if you click it one more time, it pops out a bone meal, right? So just fill up a composter until you see these white. Don't overfill it like me. When you see the white stuff show up, it is officially giving off, it should be giving off a signal strength of 8. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is 8 blocks. We're just going to test this. If all of this redstone dust lights up, then you can see it definitely is giving off a signal strength of 8, because if we go and put this here and we put this here, this redstone dust is not lit up. It's not giving off particles, which means that it is not powered. So that's how I'm testing the strength. Zuma shows off a like kind of a data pack, I guess he has, that shows you the signal strength. I don't have that, and I don't feel like going download it right now. But that was just my test to make sure that I set that part up right. Now I know that when I set this up across the line, it is always going to be a signal strength of 8 because I tested it with this, okay? So the next part in this is going to be a, it looks like a dropper facing down. Why is it a dropper facing down? It looks like it's going to be a dropper facing down. Okay, so I'm actually going to cut myself off there because this entire explanation was worthless. I built, I'd say probably about 50% of this single cell completely wrong. Like I put the observers facing the wrong direction. I put a dropper where an observer was supposed to be. I completely screwed up this part of the cell where I was trying to explain how it works. So we're just going to jump into the time lapse of me building the entire farm, and you're going to see several times throughout the time lapse if you're paying attention. I know people are probably watching this with it on their other monitor, you know, just kind of have it off to the side, which is understandable. That's how I watch Hermitcraft episodes. But if you pay attention to the time lapse, you're going to see me get very frustrated on several occasions. I kept fucking up over and over and over and over again, and what was essentially supposed to be a, you know, maybe 10-15 minute build ended up taking me almost 40 minutes to complete. You are watching a time lapse of over 40 minutes condensed down into maybe 2 or 3 at the most. Might even be shorter than that because I don't plan on talking for very long. But yeah, this is just this was kind of one of my more embarrassing moments. It took me so long to get this farm to work correctly, and even after I got it to work correctly, I should I spoil it? I think I'm going to spoil it. So after the filming of this episode was finished, and before I jumped into this editing process, I actually AFK'd at the farm for a while and came back to find that I had produced basically no dried kelp blocks. And the reason for that was because of the fact that this farm was 10 cells long, and the kelp farm that you guys end up seeing me finish the episode off with does not produce nearly enough kelp to run a 10 cell dried kelp block farm. So I had to end up tearing it all down, bringing it down to 1. This was probably one of the biggest wastes of time. I'm going to talk about it more in the next episode when I actually come back to it, but it was insane. It was genuinely insane how much time I wasted on all of this, just for it to not work properly. And I guess my point here is to just kind of tell you guys that sometimes that happens. Sometimes you will spend a lot of time in Minecraft, you'll follow a tutorial to make a farm, you'll clear out this area, you'll gather all these resources, make all these materials, and then it just doesn't work. And that's okay. It is okay if something doesn't work. The beauty of Minecraft is that you can do anything you want. So if you spend all this time, build this big farm, make it, and it just doesn't work out for your purposes, or you need to modify it, or you just don't like where it's at, just tear it down. Just tear it down. I have had several times where, I mean, even in this world that you're watching right now, before I ever made a video on it, I had like my melon farm and pumpkin farm and sugarcane farm and all these farms, they were all above ground. Like my villager breeder, my iron farm was off where I have the sectioned off for the library area. I had all those farms above ground. And it was horrible. It was ugly. It was awful. I had to take all those farms down. I had to rebuild the iron farm, rebuild the villager breeder. It was just such a gigantic pain in the ass, especially because I lost villagers. I had to go get more. It was just such a pain, but it happens sometimes. And it's important to not get discouraged when you run into these setbacks. And so that was just kind of my point here. Like I said, I'm going to talk about it more in the next episode of this Let's Play series, but let me go ahead and finish up this time lapse, and we can get back to the rest of the video, because this episode's actually looking like it's probably going to break an hour, which I don't typically like to do, but hey, what are you going to do? Right. Okay, after nearly an hour of frustration, I have finally finished the farm. The only thing left to do is to go through and basically kickstart it, so I need to go grab some fuel sources. Probably some coal. I'll go mining for that. We'll grab some coal and start, we'll probably start with like half a stack of coal through the system. Actually, we probably need dried kelp blocks. So ironically, the dried kelp farm that I just made is going to have to be kickstarted with a lot of dried kelp blocks so that we don't, we don't screw the system. But yeah, that's basically what we're looking at. Where is... Oh, it's in here. Why is this not... Yeah, which did that, which did that, which did that. Okay, so it looks like it's working? Like when this goes away, it should take from here? From my understanding? I thought it would just continuously shoot it, but maybe not. Because this is more dried kelp blocks than I had before. So I think it is well on its way to self-sustaining at this point. My goal, okay, I think it's working. I think it's working. If I take like 3 from here, and then I go get, God, it's already night again. I'm gonna be honest with you, I've been tempted on several occasions to like turn the fucking nighttime off, but then like, I don't know, there's times where I like the dangers of night, but like when I'm trying to like build outside, it's like, please leave me alone. I'm trying to do something here. Anyway, all right, so let's go ahead and collect all of this up here. I'm not gonna lie to you, it legitimately might be better if I did this like 20 or even 30 wide, if I want to keep up with the demand of the dried kelp farm. I don't think 10 is enough. I think I might have to do 20 or 30 wide for the kelp farm, which would just make this take forever, because then it would have to then it has to travel 20 or 30 hours. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. The thing is that like, while it would take a while to get to those. All right, so now if we put this in here and we put these guys in here, theoretically, this will turn on in just a little bit. Yeah, there we go. And then when this hits 9, it should kick, we should get a third kelp block into this So I put 15 in here, so when this gets down to 6, we should see another dried kelp block in here, if I'm correct. When this gets down to 6, another dried kelp block should show up in here. Yep, there we go. Okay, so it is working. It is working, but basically what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to go make a whole bunch. Basically, I'm gonna have to fill all of these up with at least 2 dried kelp blocks. So that's, yeah, we got this 10 long. So we're gonna do, we're gonna go get 20 dried kelp blocks. I'm gonna fill each of these up and to kickstart the system, and then we'll go through and put a whole bunch of kelp in the system. So like, you know, yeah, we'll go through and put a whole bunch of kelp in the system, and then once this farm starts doing its job, the whole system should basically just like start working. Once this entire system is done, once the entire system like overflows itself, all the overflow should go here. So I need to kickstart the system. Unfortunately, it is time for me to leave to go take care of my errands and everything, so I'm gonna have to come back tonight to try to kickstart the system. So the next time I'm gonna record, unless something else happens, the next time I'm gonna record is when the system is actually working and I actually have dried kelp block in this in this double chest, is what I'm hoping for. So I'm gonna go ahead and go take care of my errands, and then I'll come back. I will do all the boring shit off camera, and yeah, okay. Woo! So, while I was doing everything that I said I was going to do, I ran into an issue. Kelp kept getting stuck in the system here. It would float up to the top and it would get caught underneath here with the observers, which was massively slowing down production. And so, I am trying to rectify that by making all of these blocks not source blocks. I don't know how well that's going to work. I honestly don't. What I'm thinking almost, what if I put like a shitload of hoppers here? Is that necessary? Can I do fence? Could fence posts work? Basically what I did for all of these while we're walking past it is I went and collected a bunch of kelp and then filled up all of these hoppers to try to kickstart the overflow process. But it's not being kickstarted because this farm isn't working. I doubled the size of this farm. Originally, I was going to triple the size of it, but I wasn't sure how well that was going to work. So now I've doubled the size of it to see if that will help. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in. Oh, right. That's what I was doing. We're going to go in. We're going to put some glass panes down. No, it just gets stuck on the pane. So that doesn't work either. Gosh darn it. Pistons push like that, they shove them all the way to the other side, but then those don't shove it back. I don't think this can work as a dual chamber. I think that's the problem. Because before what I had was I had glass all along here. Yeah, I don't think this can work as a dual chamber. All right, we're gonna have to tear down this side. This is not gonna work the way that I wanted it to. All right, I'm gonna tear down the side that I'm standing on, and then I'm gonna try a different design. Because I don't, that's the entire problem. It needs a solid layer to bump against so that it gets pulled into the bottom. So we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and take care of that, and then I'll be back once I've figured out a different design for a, you know, like 20 part form or whatever. The shaders I have installed put a rainbow after it rains. It's just little touches like that that make that make shaders just all the more worth it. Anyway, so I have successfully figured out all of the issues with my design, and so now I'm going to show you in case you decide to try to copy this design. So what you want to do is you can only make this one-sided. You cannot make this a double chamber. It has to be one-sided. I did 15 units. I am going to assume you can make this as long as you want. The only reason I'm not making it super long is because I want to make sure that the chunks stay loaded so that the farm keeps working while I'm working over the hill over there, which is where my base is, which is where I'm going to be spending the majority of my time. So I don't want to go, 40 blocks out that way toward the landscape and just make it just a ridiculously long length. But Once you get these hoppers in here, you want to have yourself a barrier for the kelp to be pushed against. And then what you want to do is you want to make sure that the only water source blocks are these up here. The blocks in front of the observers must be source blocks. If you have all of these as source blocks, then the water will flow toward the glass without creating an infinite water source. That's the biggest problem, is the infinite water source. Once it makes an infinite water source, then it gets stuck. The kelp all floats up to the top as it does, and it won't go into the hoppers unless it is the second one. The second one will always go into the hoppers, but you'll always find a third one floating and getting stuck. But as long as the water is flowing like this, it'll hit this glass and then flow down. And then once it reaches, like, I think like half a block above the hoppers, it will get sucked into the hoppers. So always make sure that these are all source blocks, and your farm will work every time. With that being said, go ahead. Yeah. And if you can look down, you can see the water is all flowing. As long as the water is flowing toward the glass, it will hit the glass, and then it'll get sucked down and go into the hoppers, putting it into the stream over here. This is actually, I'm very, very proud of this bubble stream. Bubble column shoots it up into the water stream brings it to the hoppers, and then the hoppers feed it into the farm. All of these smokers are currently turned off because all of the kelp got smelted. All the ones that I collected got smelted. So what we definitely need from this farm is 110%. We need this farm to be much more efficient. So what I'm gonna do, I currently have enough for one chamber, one more unit, rather. I would say chamber, right? One chamber is 15 units. I have enough for another chamber that I am going to build in a kind of, I guess, triangle formation. So this part right here, this, I don't want to hit it in case the glass breaks, but this right here where the observers are, this is going to go here. So it's going to go toward the iron farm. And then, yeah, that's going to make it look a lot less. I'm trying to figure out how to make it look good. I'll figure it out. I'll do some thoughts processes, CCs, right? I'll do some thought processes and try to figure out how to make additional chambers while making this not look like shit. So I was coming up here to try and like delete water sources and stuff like that, because the farm is going to extend into here, which, you know, it's fine. Like, I'm not too worried about it. And I look, there's witches in my iron farm, and I'm almost, ow, fuck. I'm almost certain that those are some of my farmers. How did that happen? Like, don't get me wrong, right? I know that lightning, I know that thunder, lightning, turns villagers into witches, but it shouldn't have. God damn it. Oh my lord, bro. If it's not one thing, it's another. I can't skip the night. The poison is making it to where I can't skip the night. Oh my god. Please. I play Minecraft to relax. So, does lightning travel through leaves? That's gotta be it, right? Because there should be 10 villagers in here, and currently there is only 1, 2, 3. There's only 3. There are 4. There's only 4 villagers in here, and the rest are witches. Now, granted, witches don't kill villagers. Don't fucking move as soon as I get a place to shoot you. Witches don't kill villagers. They don't harm them or anything. But why? Thankfully, I have like an endless supply of villagers in my breeder, so I can always like come put more. But why? I don't think this really affects anything. I could just leave this like this for now, I guess. Doesn't really affect anything, but I'm gonna have to come back and fix this. And because I don't have fire tick, I'm probably just gonna put like a lightning rod somewhere around here. Why? I want to try to keep these videos under an hour. So I think what I'm gonna do is go ahead and call this episode for now. I have built a second chamber of 15. That means that currently there are 30 units of the kelp farm going off. I think what I'm gonna end up doing is making like a sort of big cross type of deal. So we're gonna have one going that way, one going that way, and it's probably gonna look cool. I'm not really sure. What I'm gonna end up doing though is go and read my book AFK overnight, and maybe even AFK while I'm editing this video, and see how that all comes up, and see if we can get some stuff running. But I did kickstart the farm by going out into the distance and getting a whole bunch of kelp. And so you can see each of the smokers has like a bunch of dried kelp blocks in it. They're working overtime, working pretty good. So my hope is that when I come back to this tomorrow, all of these will eventually have 64 dried kelp blocks in them. And we'll start getting some of these. I'm hoping that that's how this works. I would hate to have to reduce this down to like 5 units or something like that, especially after all the fucking work I put into it. But my hope is that's what what'll happen is we'll come back, and you see the kelp is already starting to come through. My hope is that 30 units of a kelp farm is going to push this thing to the absolute maximum. Well, not maximum obviously, but kick it into high gear, and it'll all circle around back. So I'm gonna dig myself a little hole, put myself in there so the monsters don't hurt me, AFK overnight, come back tomorrow and see how all of these are doing, see if we can get you know, it's just something better, just something a little bit better. I would like to have, you know, I would like to have some dried kelp to go put in my super smelter by the time we're done here.